Okay, in this video we're gonna see how to make a animation in Adobe Animate. We're gonna have a background, we're gonna have a character move through there with some clouds and some other motion effects. We'll also see how we can do a nested animation, so a timeline for a specific character within the main timeline of the animation. I've collected the parts I need, and you'll see me bring those into Animate. I've resized some of the background images and the elements I need to fit the size of video I'm doing. It's always good to resize your stuff ahead of time if you know you need a specific size. I also have some clouds and text prepared with transparent backgrounds, and these should be saved as PNGs. Now we're going to see how I can prepare a character for some subtle animations, some subtle motions within this still image to give it somewhat of a 3D or an animated effect. Basically, I want to take each part I want to move and put it on its own level. I'm only going to do, I think, 3 different parts here, probably 3 just for the sake of time, but you could do as many as you want. You can move the head, arms, hand, fingers, feet, legs, whatever you want it to. But I'm just going to do the 2 arms and I think one of the legs, just to save time for this video. Okay, so I have my background image in here unlocked. It's a PNG with a transparent background. You could also find characters or take your own photos and cut the people out with the pen tool. Now, to be used in Animate, we should have a sharp edge with a feather of 0 if you do cut things out with the pen tool. The feather doesn't always come through too good. Let's go to the pen tool P. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to cut out his arm that's going to be moving. I want to cut out at the natural joint, natural motion part of the anatomy. Sort of easy because he's got this mechanical suit on, but if it was someone with just his arm, you would cut up above the shoulder. And you got to sort of think about where is this arm actually going to move. All right, we could have a little bit of overlap, and for more of a natural look, I usually have a slight curve on that part I cut out. Okay, so I was on my pen tool, I did the click, click, click all the way around until I completed the shape, and I right-click, make selection. For this, I can do 0 pixels for the feather radius and say OK. Now, I don't want to just cut this. I want to copy it, Command C and Command V on a Mac, or Control C, Control V on a PC. Right? I can see down here my layers. I have my original layer and now my arm layer. I can move that out of the way for now. Go back to the Move tool, move that arm out of the way. Now I'm going back to my original layer, and I'm going to cut out most of his arm as this other one's going to move on top of it. I want to leave a little bit of an overlap so when I move this arm, you don't see a white space or the background. So I'm going to cut out this arm. Once again, I'm going to leave a little bit of extra wiggle room for that arm. So do the pen tool, click, 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 or click and drag for curves, and then complete my shape by going back to the clicking on the starting anchor. I'm going to right click, make a selection, feather radius of 0, OK. Now I can delete that arm. I can do a quick little test to see how this is going to look and animate. So I'm going to my Move tool. I'm on auto select here so I can select whatever layer I need and bring that arm up here. And I'm going to do the Command T for transform. I'm going to move that anchor point up here at the natural rotation part of the arm, the shoulder blade, or the shoulder. Then I can do some animations here. So give it a little more of a realistic look, a bit of motion. Now with that little bit of extra arm in the background body, or the back body part, it gives me a little more wiggle room for this animation. Okay, there you go. So I think that's going to work pretty good. Let me do the other arm. I'm going back to my original layer. P for pen tool, or click over here for your pen tool in the tools bar. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to cut out his other arm. Now, for the characters, if I'm doing this for a character, or a person, or an animal, or something, I should find an image where the parts I want to move are not overlapping other parts, or are not real close to the body, where this whole arm is not close to the body. It's sort of sticking out, and that makes the animation a little more easier to do. All right, so I've completed that path. The pen tool, I can right-click, make selections. Okay, Command C, Command V, move tool. Now that arm is on its own layer. I'm going back to the original layer. P for pen tool to cut off his arm. Now once again, I'm going to leave a little bit of overlap here, so when that arm moves, it doesn't show the background. Complete the path, make selection, 0 feather radius, delete. Command D to deselect, go back to my move tool up here in the toolbar, and I'm going to test this arm, see if I've cut it off in a way that would make sense for the animation. Command T for transform, move that rotation point up to the natural rotation area. Now this arm looks like it's behind this character, so I think I'm going to move that layer behind his body and transform it that way. Let's move the rotation point again. Okay, so not too bad. I think for this one I may want to trim a little bit on this arm that I cut out. So I'm going to move that arm out, go to my pen tool, and just trim a little bit of the part that's sticking out when I move his arm. It feels a little unnatural. Right click, make selection, okay, delete, Command D, move this arm back over here, Command T, move the rotation point and test it again. Okay, there you go. So all we're going to need for this animation is just a little bit of motion here. Give it sort of effect like he's moving through the air. Okay, good. Now let's do the last one. I have to go back to the motion, or to the main body. And just for the sake of time, usually I do both legs, maybe a foot or something. For the sake of time, I'm just going to do his hip area here. So I got to sort of think, how is that going to move? Actually, I think I'm just going to do this leg here. I'll just do this. I think I'll do the front leg here. I'm going for the pen tool. I'm just going to want some overlap here. Maybe a little bit of a curved effect. I'm going to cut off that leg, and this leg's going to be sort of behind his torso since he's leaning forward. There we go. Complete the shape. Right click, make selection. Okay. Command C, Command V. Go back to the move tool. Move that leg. Now I can come back to the body. Main section here, go to the pen tool. I'm going to cut out this little portion here. And delete it. I'll test that leg out. And I'm going to put it, that's what I'm going to put behind his body. I'm going to transform. I can move his leg, Command Z, move the rotation point. It's a natural rotation of the hips. And I can just do a little bit of motion here to make that leg feel a little more animated 3D. Actually, I think I'm going to do the other leg here, so I'm going back to the body, pen tool, and cut out that leg. Right click, make selection, 0 feather, OK. Command C, Command V, move tool, move that guy, come back to my body, pen tool, Right click, make selection. Okay, delete, Command D. Alright, I'm going to put this leg behind the body. There we are. I'm going to put it behind the other leg. And then Command T, move the rotation point and test that leg. So I just want to get some slight motion there. Good. So now when I move all these things together, it's going to feel like, still going to feel sort of cartoony, but it's for simple animations, banners, things like that. Okay, so it's ready. Let me save this. Before I do that, actually I should come over here and rename my layers. So this is my right arm. This is my left leg. Right leg. Body. And left arm. Once again, I could do other cut out other parts like his head and put that on its own layer and move that around also. Can also, if I did that, then I would have to do some stamping on the background here to give it a perception that there is his shoulder blade, his back behind his head here, so for when I move the head. But I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time. Let me save this. File save as. Save it back my folder, and I can save it as a PSD and bring it into Animate. So I can have JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, and Photoshop files and bring them into Animate. Let me quit this, quit Photoshop. I'm going to open Animate